up, guys? In this video, I'm excited to talk about whether or not I think the brand new Scout Rogue is a good beginner motorcycle. Let's hop on the bike and have a chat. All right, here we are. We're all staged up. Obviously, this is a pretty typical press event, but I'm not going to talk about this actual motorcycle as if I'm reviewing it. I'm going to talk about this motorcycle as if it's my very first time riding it. So about to hop on and take off. All right, so as you guys can see here, these are the 10-inch mini 8 bars, which I think this is going to be so comfortable. It's a much higher pulled back seat height for me. And then we have the bar and mirrors, which I'll give you an honest opinion on those here soon, because I'm not a huge fan of bar and mirrors, but these are the little caps right here, so we can easily put them back up there if I feel like I need to. The one thing that's going to be crazy for me on this motorcycle is the forward controls, and honestly, they're not super far forward. If you can see, I'm still at a pretty comfortable knee bend, but I have not ridden an Indian Scout since 2016, and that motorcycle that I rode was actually a friend of mine's bike, and he had like 16-inch ape hangers on it. Oh, and if you don't know, Blackhead's here with me. Go watch his video because it's going to be a lot better than mine. Mine's just going to be a lot of wheeze and having fun. His is going to have real information. And then we have Brandon Picasso over here. He's actually rebuilding a wrecked Indian Chief right now. I've been loving watching his rebuild process. Woo! Instantly super nimble. Holy moly. Okay. Man, okay. I want to kind of talk about some brief specs here really fast with you guys. This is a little over 500 pound motorcycle, maybe 580, I'm not too sure. It's 1100 cc's, and this is more of like the touring edition. So I have the bags on this bike, I have the handlebars raised up. Well, honestly, all of the Scout Rogues have these 10-inch mini apes, and already the ergos are super comfortable on this machine. But it just feels so lightweight compared to a lot of the other cruisers that you have out there. So first things first, on this part of the video, we're actually gonna go get some photos taken. So head over to my Instagram if you wanna check out the badass photos we're about to get on this bike. But after that, we're gonna take an amazing ride up into Ohio, California. Gonna stop and have lunch, but yeah, just sit back, relax, grab a snack, and hop on this motorcycle and take a ride with me. Woo! All right, well, we just got our pictures taken. We are officially on the freeway on these motorcycles. We've been on the freeway for a hot second. I'm trying not to record a lot of it because it's very windy, very bumpy, and very abrasive. But I do want to talk about the highway right now, because this little wind fairing in front of us, the fairing on the motorcycle, I can tell it's doing a fantastic job keeping the wind up off of my chest. I'm still fighting it like with my head and stuff, but that mini fairing is doing a fantastic job. Already, we've only been on these motorcycles for about an hour today. Already I can tell I wish I had passenger pegs on this one, because I would love to put my feet behind me. Having them out in front of me like this is very much giving my tailbone some serious action. Whew. I think we're finally going to get off the highway here in a hot second and start hitting some beautiful twisties. So let's talk about the last time I rode an Indian Scout. I told you guys I had a friend of mine. He no longer has it, but he let me ride his Indian Scout. Basically, he had the first edition, like the first model, as soon as it came out. It was a 1200 cc version of this bike, and the Scout Rogue, the one I'm on right now, is a little over 1100 cc's. But dude, the power on this machine with how light it is shocking. I for sure would have thought this was at least 1200. I mean, I guess another like 77 cc's probably wouldn't have made that much of a difference, but it's a powerful little bike. And the one thing I wanted to talk about in this video is I have a lot of women, so many women who are interested in the Scout, because it is a low motorcycle. The seat height on this bike is a little over 25 inches. I am 5'7". I have an inseam of 31 inches, and dude, this bike is comfortable for a good ride height. The only thing I do personally, and this is a personal preference, I do wish they offered a version in with mid controls, and that would actually help with a lot of very short women. You know, if you had a mid control version, and they might. I haven't seen one on the website, so I know they have. The Scout has over 300 accessories you can purchase, so they might have a conversion kit. I don't personally know, but mid controls would honestly make this a perfect motorcycle for very short riders. God, these roads are rough. Everyone loves riding in California. I think it's the most uncomfortable riding roads I've ever been on. I will say the model that I'm on right now does not have the adjustable suspension. That would be lovely on this bike too. A couple of the others have the adjustable suspension, and I would kill for that. But for example, one of the reasons I dislike forward control motorcycles is because I can't stand up on them. So if I want to go over an object or just stand up off my seat for a quick second, I can't. I have to really rely on pulling on the bars, which means pulling on the throttle. There's just a lot that can happen when you do that. I will say, having these risers on this bike, I think, was one of the best ideas they've ever done. It was a very aggressive, leaned over position on like the Scout Bobber and stuff like that. So with this new Rogue trim package, it's just a much more relaxed, aggressive ride. Ooh, finally hitting into some of the twisties. This is nice. I will say having the higher up bars also feel a lot more natural when you're in a corner. I guess the more bent over aggressive style is probably what some people would prefer because it's, you know, similar to sport bike kind of riding, but I really like having the bars up a little higher so I can sit up a little straighter. I 100% am not a fan of the bar end mirrors. I can't really see anything. Oh. Yeah. Once again, my biggest complaint is the suspension. The seat is actually really squishy, really nice. I like the seat. It's kind of wider and pretty comfortable, but yeah, with the suspension and the forward position of my legs, all my pressure is on my tailbone right now. So the thing that I really love that Indian has done with this motorcycle is they have made a little family out of it. So obviously if you go to their website, you can look at all of the different specs and customization pieces of the Scout platform, but the platform itself is fantastic. And the fact that they added the Scout Rogue was just, I think, well, hi puppy, was one of the best ideas they've ever had. Well, the lean angle on this bike is not the best. I scraped quite a few times through those beautiful twisties. Woo! I don't like scraping peg. I don't know about you guys. I really don't like the feeling of it. Well, I believe we just got to our lunch location here in Ohio, and before we hop in and go to lunch, I want to show you some of the things about the motorcycle that I was talking about previously. So this bike does not have the adjustable suspension, but it does come on some of the bikes, and yeah, I don't like scraping. At least it folds up, but it's still scary to me. I don't like scraping. And then here you can see, dude, these bars are so comfortable. I actually really enjoyed the bars, but the bar end mirrors, I can't see shit. The bags have been wonderful. And overall, the ergos have been great. So after spending about 5 or 6 hours on this motorcycle so far, I kind of really wanted to dive into whether or not I think this motorcycle would be a good beginner motorcycle. How many times can I say motorcycle in one sentence? Specifically, I know a lot of women enjoy this bike because it is a very relaxed ride position. Your seat height is nice and low and comfortable. There's plenty of power, but not too much to really make it get away from you. And I think the nicest thing about this bike, not only the price point, it's very affordable for a brand new liquid-cooled motorcycle, but there are so many customization features of this machine. Personally, I think the Rogue is my favorite. I really enjoy this little fairing, the 10-inch mini apes. Having the bags on it is a wonderful addition, and I would love to try out the adjustable suspension. Now, personally, if you notice, I actually did move my bar ends from being upside down to right side up. And that's just a personal preference. Visibility, I like to see things. I like to be seen. Visibility is a big part of my riding experience. So moving those mirrors was a no-brainer for me. Now, whether or not I think this is a good beginner motorcycle, I think everything about the bike is good for beginners, but it is kind of fast. It is pretty powerful. 1100 cc's on a lightweight frame like this motorcycle it's fast. It'll get away from you pretty quick if you wanted to. It is wonderful through these corners and these beautiful mountain roads, but the lean angle, not the best. I'm not a fan of scraping peg. I know some people think it's an award when you scrape your peg. I don't like it, so I would definitely prefer higher lean angle. But other than that, the flickability of this bike through these corners has been actually pretty lovely. Certain trims of this bike does come with ABS. I don't know if the one I'm on has ABS. I haven't activated it, so I don't know if it does. But in all seriousness, man, I just want to kind of let you know my thoughts on how it feels to ride this bike. I hopped on here, and even though I'm not familiar with forward controls and it's not my preferred style of riding position, I've really enjoyed this bike. I think this could be a great long distance machine, which personally, being a bagger rider, is crazy for me to say that. And when you need it to get up and go, it'll get up and go quick for you. If I were to be as bold as I am, I feel like this was the bike that Indian should have made first with the Scout lineup. This is definitely my favorite model. So back to the subject of whether or not I think this machine would be a good first bike for people. Actually, yeah, and it's not even just a personal opinion. I think Indian has done a wonderful job adding this motorcycle to the entry-level position, not only in price point, but in the stature of the bike, the handling, as well as the modifications and the upgrades you can do to it. I personally know tons of women who own an Indian Scout, and all I can say is, like, I think the Scout launched in 2015, and it's only gotten much better. It's a wonderful platform, and I think I love seeing the progression of, based on user feedback and stuff like that. So Indian is definitely paying attention to what people want out of a motorcycle, and I just can't wait to see where they keep taking these bikes. So I've talked about the good things I like about the bike. Now I'm going to talk about the things that I notice are personally kind of throwing me for a loop. And I've said this about pretty much all Indian motorcycles, but the electric throttle, it's twitchy. When you're in some of these like sweepers, these corners, and you're really needing to stay steady on the throttle, it's difficult. Sometimes it doesn't want to stay steady. It's twitchy. It'll kind of try to twitch out from under you. I think that's just something that you'll have to get used to if you own this bike and ride it enough. Like, you just kind of acclimate to your machine. But since I ride so many different kinds of motorcycles, that's something that does stand out. Honestly, other than that, everything else is easily adjustable. The suspension is easily adjustable. The seats are customizable. Everything else that I'm having an issue with on this bike is just, minor tweak of an Allen wrench or something. I will say the 19-inch front wheel on this bike is super lightweight, and it makes it feel a lot more nimble versus some of the other like chunkier front tire motorcycles that are out there currently. Lots of bikers, hey buddies? So here's what I want to tell you. I want to be honest with you about whether or not this is a good beginner bike. It's up to you whether or not it's a good beginner bike. 1100 cc's is nothing to bat an eye at. This is a powerful machine, especially for how lightweight it is, like I keep saying. But I think if you are a shorter rider, Also, if 1100 cc's is too big for you, there is the Scout 60. That is a brand new model this year as well, and it is, I believe, 900 and something cc's, and it's a 5-speed. So it's definitely a little more tuned down version of this bike, but with still all of the wonderful ergonomics and additions you can add to it. So the Scout 60 might honestly be a better first bike for a new rider versus the Rogue. Now, the thing I really do enjoy about this bike, seriously, is that little mini fairing. I just think it is the cherry on top of the cake. It looks so good. I truly think it looks good. And y'all know I love a good full fairing, but having this little mini fairing is just like reminiscent of, you know, the old school cafe racer days and stuff like that. And then when you got your feet out in front of you and your hands out, it's such an aggressive position. So it just feels good knowing that you're keeping that wind off of your chest and you're still in this like aggressive stance. Woo! Open road. This is nice. So now that I've kind of talked about the motorcycle for a bit, I want to tell you about personally how I feel this bike compares to a lot of the other motorcycles that I've ridden. Obviously, I'm a cruiser girl. I primarily ride cruisers. I have ridden adventure bikes. I have ridden little tiny like 50cc motorcycles and everything in between, except for dirt bikes and sport bikes. Just haven't really broadened my horizons to that category yet. Just having all of that experience has really made it easy for me to hop on this motorcycle, feel very comfortable. It is an analog bike. You don't have flashy things like cruise control, ABS is optional, and it's just a really good core bike. So I think this is a great option for anyone who doesn't really need all of the bells and whistles and the flashy stuff. It's just, this is a bike that's gonna perform, and it's gonna perform well. And I think that's the best thing, is like, you want a bike that's just going to do what you need it to do as often as possible. So when I compare this bike to a lot of the others that I've ridden, the only real difference to me is just like the foot position. That's the thing that's standing out the most, is I wish I could put mids on it. And like I said, there might be an option to add mid controls, but I haven't really dug that deep into it. I want to talk about the bike as it is, how it comes standard from factory. But dude, for me, it's the price. The bang for your buck that you get with this bike. I believe this one right here is probably $12,000 to $13,000 US dollars. And for as powerful as this is and how comfortable it has been, I think that's an amazing bargain for a brand new motorcycle, especially in today's, like, you know, used car prices and chip shortages and all of that. So the fact that this is as affordable as it is probably the biggest reason I would buy one. Hey man, if you guys are new here and you just saw this video for the first time, this is your first time checking out my channel, honestly, if you subscribe, that would be pretty cool, because as much as I love doing ride videos, first ride, first impression, stuff like that, the real thing I can't wait for is getting the opportunity to get on my own road trips and enjoy my own motorcycles. And so having this option to test ride so many different bikes has really opened my eyes to the possibilities of the fun that can be had on two wheels, man. So if you're new here, thank you so much for checking out this video. Please hit the subscribe button. I don't ask that very often, but when I do, it really means a lot. And something interesting about YouTube, I don't know if you guys know, it actually shows me how many subscribers a certain video gains. So I can tell, like, if you hit subscribe on this video, I'll be able to see it. And I think I love the analytics like that. Ooh, that looks like rain. It's cold, I don't want it to rain. Obviously, if you guys have any other questions about the Scout Rogue or the Scout 60, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to do my best at answering the bike. And if I don't know the answer to your comment, I'll still let you know that I don't know. And it's just I'll try to find out for you, or talk to some of my other friends who have ridden this bike. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. And until my next one, you be good, and I will see you later.